Hey guys, it's Alex. I'm here with a second unhaul so soon after the previous one because the store near me that I sell my books to is Second and Charles, and they're a chain store. They're not like a nice local used bookstore. I don't know any of those in my area that buy back used books. Second and Charles is opening a second store in the area, or at least somewhere relatively nearby. So they're collecting stock not only for themselves, but for that second store, which means their standards for the books they buy has gone down so much. Usually I walk in with like 15 used books, and they might buy about 6. Last time I took more than 20, plus a few DVDs, and they took literally everything. So I decided to take this as an opportunity to unhaul everything that I possibly can. I have more than 50 books. It's amazing what I can convince myself to get rid of when I know that there's about a 90% chance that they will buy it and I will get better books for that money. Without further ado, here's my ridiculously massive unhaul. The first books I'm getting rid of are a set of middle grade animal books. They're called Animal Arc. They're a little middle grade series of like a young girl whose parents are vets. She and her friends wind up like working a lot with animals, and they love animals, and they're really cute middle grade books, but they're kind of on the list of middle grade books that I read, I loved, but I'm not going to reread, and they're not ones that I want to keep. So we're saying goodbye to Animal Arc. I'm also getting rid of a copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This is one I had to buy for school because it was assigned reading, and I didn't have my copy with me, and I had no car or way to drive the hour down to get my copy, so I just picked up a little paperback. I read it, I didn't enjoy it, plus I have a second copy, so this is going. Walk Two Moons by Saren Creech. I read this in elementary school, and I know this is like some amazing children's book that everyone loves, but oh my god, this traumatized me as a child. I hate this book so much. My feelings for this book are so incredibly strong that I don't even like touching it right now. This is like not even a 1-star read for me. This is negative stars. Like, I don't know if negative stars are possible, but this book makes them possible. Young Reader's Classic by J.M. Barrie. I don't know if this is like a sort of abridged version or something, but I have a pretty version of Peter Pan that's like a nice lovely hardback, and it's gorgeous, so there's no reason for me to have this too. Code Talker by Joseph Bruchac. I just hauled this, or I'm going to haul this. I didn't realize I already had a copy. Apparently, my knowledge of Navajo code talkers probably comes from this book, and that's why this book was interesting to me. So we're getting rid of the unnecessary copy. The Wizard of Oz. I'm not actually hugely fond of The Wizard of Oz, so it goes goodbye. George C. Marshall by Mark A. Stoller. I had to buy this for the same class I had to buy Clausewitz for. I gave half the books I bought for that class to my brother for like his Christmas or his birthday or something, because he likes those history books, but I didn't think he would appreciate George C. Marshall. And I'm never gonna read it. Because I like biography books, and I like World War II, but I'm not gonna read this. The Sign of the Beaver by Elizabeth George Spear. I'm never gonna reread this. I read it as a child, but like, it's never gonna happen, so why is it still on my shelf? Female Chauvinist Pigs, Women in the Rise of French Culture by Ariel Levy. My feminism has moved beyond this. Like, I read this probably when I was about 12. And when I was 12, I was like, yes, this is feminism. We are beyond men. We are more than, like, objects for men. I was a pretentious 12-year-old. This is what I was actually like. I read a lot of things and parroted them back without actually understanding them. But now, this book is very cringe to me. I get that women are more than objects for a man's eye, and there is something to be said for the critique of women who say they're doing it out of empowerment, but they're really doing it because of the societal pressure, because that makes it easier for them to succeed in life, and there is something to be critical of that situation. But I found this book to be incredibly gross. I mean, I haven't read it since I loved it, but like, from what I remember, this book mostly just shames women who are sexual beings, and who are comfortable with their sexuality, and show off their sexuality, and there's a little bit critique of like the men involved, but this is mostly just like hating on women, and I'm not down. The Essential 55 by Ron Clark. He's supposed to be like some amazing teacher. I think there was a movie like based on him or something. I want to say there was a movie and like what's his face from Friends was portraying him, but that might have been another generic teacher, inspirational teacher movie. I read this when my father gave it to me when I was in like elementary school, but there's really no reason for me to have this. I'm never gonna reread it. I'm never gonna be a teacher. I don't deal with small children or any children. Foch, Supreme Allied Commander in the Great War by Michael S. Nyberg. Again, same reason I'm getting rid of the George C. Marshall book. I bought it for that glass, and I hated that glass. I thought it was going to be like, it was European history, and it was literally just military, which I understand that's a big part of European history, but I kind of expected it to be more than that. It pretty much started, like, it just covered, like, the Great Wars of Europe, and I dropped it because he wanted me to write a research paper on Condoleezza Rice, and I was like, this is a European history class. I have 2 Sherlock Holmes books, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, with an introduction by Owen Colfer, who wrote Artemis Fowl, and The Hound of the Baskervilles. But I have 2 nice Wordsworth Classics books of Sherlock Holmes that I'm pretty sure encompass everything that man has ever written. I'm getting rid of these 2 because I don't need duplicates, and I keep telling myself that. Especially with this next book, I tell myself I don't need duplicates. But it pains me so much to get rid of it. It is The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, who is J.K. Rowling. I bought this book because I have a hardback edition of Career of Evil, which is back here. And it's a really lovely hardback. It's got like that really soft hardback cover, and it's got 3D print. And I saw this in a thrift store and was like, ooh, I should get that so I can have another pretty hardback cover. And this is definitely not that. This is like a cheaper hardback. It has flat print and it doesn't have the pretty feeling cover that's like hard, that's like soft kind of. This is just like the normal cover, and because of that I really don't need this. But it's so hard to get rid of anything by J.K. Rowling. But I'm an adult, so it's going away. Candide by Voltaire. This is also a critical edition, so like there's all kinds of critique and stuff in it, which I don't really want. Like, I'm okay with books that have that, depending on the books. I love it for Shakespeare. But I have a book that doesn't. I have a book of Candide that doesn't have this. So that's the one I decided to keep. And this is going away. Just Your Family in Corduroy and Denim by David Sedaris. I already have a copy of this book. I held it twice because I have a problem. And I decided to keep the paperback version. Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. Again, I held this twice. And I kept the hardback version. Animorphs, The Encounter. This is the 3rd one, and I have a duplicate of this book. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brashares. Again, I already have this book. I don't need 2. A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I hauled this book twice. This was the first one I got, because I didn't know, like, what condition I could find the books in, and I'm not that picky. But because I have a nice one, I'm unhauling this. And I'm not selling this at the thrift store. I'm going to dump it in the free bin outside, because it is in terrible condition, and there's just no need to do that. Like, they're not going to buy it. Nobody wants to buy this book, but if they don't care that it's in crap condition, because some people don't, like, it's not falling apart, it's taped together to hold it up. That's all that's important. The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. I have a really pretty paperback edition of this book. It's like the same edition, only paperback, and it doesn't have the gross pages that I hate. And this book is kind of like worn and used, and someone used it as a coaster, which is annoying to me. Like, I'm okay with people abusing their books, but like, why would you use a book as a coaster? I'm not judgmental. Like, it's your book. Do whatever you want with it. Like, I bend pages, I do all kinds of crap, but like, why would you use it as a coaster? White Oleander by Janet Finch. I held this twice. I'm keeping the pretty hardback. This one's a little bit wrecked, but Second Charles might still take it. Another middle grade animal series that I'm unhauling is The Pony Pals. I love The Pony Pals. I have like the volume 1 hardback set of the first like 3-4 books. It kind of pains me to get rid of these because of how much I love The Pony Pals, but I know of all the middle grade series I own, this is not going to be one I look back at. There's just no way I ever reread this. And I can't keep every middle grade series that I love. It's just not possible, and I'm trying to be mature and get rid of some more of them. Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, Part 1. It's only Part 1. I only have Part 1. This was a book that I inherited from a dead grandparent when they cleaned out their house and was like, oh, here's a box of books. Who in the family likes books? Alex, you want this random box of books? Sure, I have no standards for books. This is how I wind up with half my books, guys. I do want to read Crime and Punishment, but there's no reason for me to keep only Part 1. Another Candide. You can't see this, but it is Candide. This was a copy I borrowed from my friend, and I destroyed it, and I don't even know what I did because I've never ripped off the cover of a book before. I've just never done that. I don't know what happened, but I replaced hers, and I've replaced mine now twice, and I'm not taking this to Second and Charles. I'm just dumping it in their free bin, because some people don't care if it's missing a cover. Good for them. Uglies and Pretties by Scott Westerfield. These are the ones I hauled the other day, or I'm about to haul them. I don't know when I'm posting that video. But I already had these, and I decided that I want to keep the ones I have because they're in slightly better condition, even if they don't quite match the hardbacks I got as much. They're just a little bit taller, which looks not as nice. But those are the ones I'm keeping because they're in better condition, and these are going away. Those Girls by Chevy Stevens. I was going to keep this, but now that I know that they'll actually buy it from me, I'm getting rid of it. It's like amazing what I'll get rid of when I know that they're gonna buy it. I'm still gonna read the other book by her, but I'm being honest with myself. I'm never gonna read this book. I don't want to read this book again. I didn't like it the first time. And finally, I'm being a mature adult. I am collecting the Fearless series by Francine Pascal. And I have decided that since I'm collecting the Fearless series, I cannot also keep my Sweet Valley High books. They're written by the same author, although the Sweet Valley books were significantly more popular, if I'm remembering correctly, because I did not see Fearless in as many places. But I can't keep every series that I loved. I'm not going to reread Sweet Valley. The main reason I was keeping these books was for those weird thrillers that were sort of involved, like later on, where like there was like mysterious like sister or lookalike or something and murder things went down, and I don't remember. I could never read all of them because I'd only had a couple and I had them like out of order, so I was missing important explanation pieces and my library didn't have them, and that's sort of what was driving me to keep these books. But I'm never going to reread them. I haven't read any of those thrillers in over 10 years, so I'm getting rid of all of these. I don't know if Second and Charles will want any of these because some of them are kind of old and in poor condition, but it is time to say goodbye to Sweet Valley. It's beyond time. Let me see if I can pull out one of the thrillers. This one, Return of the Evil Twin. There's apparently a set of twins that look exactly like Elizabeth and Jessica. I wanted to finish the series, or like start the series, because I could never find these books, because these were like the weird ones. And that is it for this unhaul. This will probably be the last one I do for quite a while, because I have looked through my shelves, and I've tried to get rid of anything that I could possibly bear to part with. And I'm sure there are more that I should get rid of, but usually I like to get rid of them slowly, like pick out a book here or there, and like slowly grow my stack until I have like 10 over the course of 2 months or something. But because they're buying books, I just decided to rip the band-aid off and do it all. Do it all now. Considering I've hauled so many books and I feel guilty about having them, this is my punishment for buying so many books. I'm getting rid of more than 50. I want to keep them. I might be single-handedly stocking this new store of theirs. And they're gonna judge me so hard when I come in. Like, oh, you're back because we're buying books. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I do feel good about myself for getting rid of more than 50 books. Because that's a lot of books. Let me know down below how much you guys cringed watching this video and how I got rid of all these books and how I destroyed Candide. I hit myself a little for destroying Candide. And hopefully I get a lot of store credits so I can haul more books. Bye, guys!